Hey, everybody, this is DENNISH, and welcome to Living Your Best Life. I am so excited to be back in the studio after being out last week. I'm joined with my good friend Jonathan. Welcome back yet again.
Nice to see you.
I don't think we have Jamie PK on the line yet, so we're gonna start this show. It's a beautiful day here at the Jersey Shore, thus my T-shirt weather today. What we're going to be talking about today is living your life purpose. And I kind of look at living your life purpose as what you're supposed to be doing in this world. And I believe it changes throughout our life, depending on our age, our circumstance. And it always upsets me when I hear people say, I don't have a purpose. This is how we learn. This is how we learn.
Yes, thank you.
Where was I? For the people who say they don't know what their purpose is or they don't have a purpose, I'm here to tell you, if you're living, you're breathing, and you're still on this earth, you have a purpose. Now, I will tell you a little bit about my life purpose and where I think where it was and where it is now. In my early 20s or mid 20s, I was married, housewife, and throughout the years was raising 5 really great kids. And I knew then that was my life purpose, to be a stay-at-home mom, to raise them, to be a wife. And then I got divorced after 20 years, but I was still able to be a stay-at-home mom with my kids. I did a little bit of writing, and yet even at that time with my writing, I didn't feel that it was my life purpose or anything outside of raising my children at the time. I'd say it was probably when I had breast cancer and was going through treatment and my journey of that, and was writing my breast cancer journal, that I realized that cancer came for a reason. As I've said to you before, chemo healed the cancer healed me. And it became my life purpose to take the experiences I've gone through, the difficult experiences, not just with cancer, with divorce and life changes, to take them, write about them, and speak about them. And I've realized at this point in my life, this is my life purpose: to make a difference in the world, to make a difference in another life, to share all the lessons I learned from my wonderful spiritual teachers throughout the years on how to cope, how to get through, how to stay as positive as we can in what feels like such a negative world at times. And I look at the people also that I don't have a purpose. Well, as I was driving down here today, I'm thinking, okay, say you work at a coffee house. You're going to tell me that's just a job, that's not a purpose. Change your mindset, change your perspective. It is a purpose, because a lot of people come in all day long, especially in the morning, for that first cup of coffee on the way to work. That was your purpose that day, to make someone's day. Same with a real estate agent. I know a lot of them, and they're like, well, it's not a purpose, it's a job. Well, you're finding a home for a new family, or selling a home where someone wants to downsize or change their life or move out of state. That was your purpose. It's your purpose throughout your life. And I think if you put your mindset in a certain way of thinking, you'll see that there's purpose in every day of your life. You have a purpose for being here. And on that note, I'm going to ask Jonathan about his life purpose.
My life's purpose is to come here every Thursday and do what you tell me to do.
Well, see, I like that life purpose.
Yeah, sure.
As it should be.
One of the things that you just said was your life's purpose does not have to be at any given time during your journey some grandiose thing that you're going to win a prize for.
Right.
Some of the mundane things that we have to do every day are part of our purpose. And every step along the way, bringing somebody or serving somebody something, you said before, and you put a smile on somebody's face, or you're a realtor and you're finding somebody, a family, a place that's going to be a home where memories are made.
Right.
And you're serving a purpose. And at any given time, that is your life's purpose. And you don't know where your journey is going to lead you. I know, as I look back over the years, Um, I think about choices that you make, and those choices led you to where you are, and that journey leads you to your purpose. But your purpose may change depending on what decision you make.
Right. I
And
agree.
I used to say, I don't have any regrets, and that what I am today and who I am today is the sum total of my life's experience. Well, I'm not done living. So I'm here today, and I joke about my purpose of coming here, but, I look forward to coming here. We're usually, except for me sometimes when I hit my head, but we're usually pretty well prepared because we talk about different things during the week. So when we go live, we actually have something meaningful to say that we hope will touch one person
Exactly.
in a positive way. And we were talking before about how it's hard to be positive sometimes.
Yeah, it
You
is.
you have
It
to
is.
force yourself to be positive because that's a better way. And there's all kinds of cliches for it, glass half full versus half glass empty. But the bottom line is if you react to anything positively, um, it's going to make your life more purposeful no matter what you do. Instead of saying, well, it's just a job. Well, it's not just a job to somebody else.
Right.
Maybe somebody else wishes they had that job. So, what I don't know what my end all purpose is going to be. And I think that's part of the excitement of living every day. And every day does not just bring, sunshine and rainbows.
No, it doesn't. Not by long shot.
But that doesn't mean you can't be filled with purpose every day.
And I think you're right about talking about the positivity. And we were talking with Doc about that earlier. That, I've heard the cliches and the sayings too. That if you're worried or stressed, it's not gonna change your situation. It's not gonna change it. And it's easier said than done. I often tell people some of those things take effort. It takes effort if you're surrounded by sometimes even two negative people. Sometimes all it takes is one. It's very hard. And so often we want to just throw in the towel and say, you know what, just be miserable with you because I can't battle this. I can't fight this. I can't get around this and above it. But that's when you got to look inward to yourself. That might be somebody else's purpose at that moment to be miserable, to be negative, to be whatever they're living. It's not yours. If you've made a choice that you're going to try to look at the good in life, enjoy every day to its fullest, even the days that aren't that great. And I think that's what we have to learn to do. And like I say, my life is not sunshine and roses every day, but I'm happy every day. I'm happy when I wake up, and I'm grateful when I go to bed at night that I had another day, no matter what it brought me, because for me, even the worst of days will always bring a life lesson for me or another post or story to write. It'll always bring something positive. And I know I won't let those moments last forever because that gets involved in me living my life purpose and trying to make a difference in all of your lives and in the world. So I can't sit in that too long because that's not my purpose to be negative. My purpose is to try to be positive and to do something good with all that I've learned over the years.
Being negative prevents you from having purpose and leading a purposeful life, no matter what it is you do. I think back over negative periods in my life, and I don't like to dwell on the past. I think we've had that conversation many times, but I do like to dwell on lessons learned. And you think if you knew better than to be negative, well, okay, I learned that lesson. Let's move on.
Right.
But you get caught up in negativity from time to time. A lot of times that you might be at a weak spot in your life, and you get consumed by the negative. But every time you get consumed or negativity overcomes you or overcomes the positivity, you're losing your purpose and you're wasting time. I don't want to fight. I don't want to be in a battle. We talked about picking battles. You know what? I don't want to battle.
I don't want to battle either. And
You want to have a positive, productive conversation, which will allow me to live my life's purpose at that moment. Then I want to engage with you.
And we were just talking about that because I always say, oh, you got to pick your battles. And I'm thinking, you know what? Don't pick any battles. Just it is what it is. Deal with it. Same as you say, have a conversation over about it, come to a compromise, or accept that that's the way it is and move along.
It's either going to be a compromise or a conclusion. But you
Absolutely.
but you can't but negativity can't be the conclusion.
No, and a lot of times when we get, if you want to call it struck down by negativity, especially when it's around us, a lot of times we're just out of balance. We're tired. We've had a long day at work. There's so many factors that can put that negativity in your way. And it's not always that easy. On the days that I'm feeling a lot of stuff like that, I just, I eat dinner, take a long hot bath, and I go to bed because I know tomorrow's another day. God willing, tomorrow's another day. So I don't like to sit in that stuff too long. And it's still hard for me to block the negativity of others. I'll be honest, it is. It's an effort every day when I'm around something like that. But you got to do what you got to do. And my life purpose is not to take on all the energies, the negative energies of everybody else. My life purpose is to spread my positivity wherever it's needed.
You're right.
Of course I am.
That's for those of you who are interested. That's part of my life's purpose is to tell people when they're right.
Yes, it is. I
And
love
even-
when he tells me that.
Even though, that may sound like a joke, but think about it. If somebody's wrong, and I've been guilty of this myself, is it really important to tell them that they're wrong or explain to them that they're wrong? Well, sometimes it might be necessary because they might be in some kind of danger.
Right.
So, you're wrong to cross the street in front of that big truck. That's an emergency.
Right.
But if somebody's opinion is wrong or their thinking is flawed and you recognize it, well, it depends on the relationship you have with that person. Is it really necessary to, like you discovered something, you're wrong. Let me explain why you're wrong. That may not be the way to approach it. And you're also going to stand in the way of somebody else's purpose if you bring them down instead of building them up. I mean, you talked about your life purpose now after the journey thus far,
Right.
because neither of our journeys is over.
No.
And you brought up gratitude at night. You're grateful for another day. Well, when you think about those we've left behind, whether they've passed or they've passed out of our life, you have to kind of let that go. You can reflect on the positive things,
Right.
let go of the negative, and move forward. And people may pass back into your life, but right now, unless they're contributing towards your life's purpose, it's probably not a good idea to associate yourself with those type of people, because it's going to dilute your purpose. If nothing else, you may get sidetracked, but negativity will dilute your purpose if it doesn't stop
Absolutely.
it altogether.
Absolutely. And it's hard sometimes, we think we can do it all, and it's like, well, I'll just ignore this or ignore that and plug away. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get past negativity sometimes. And I used to raise my kids, and I'd say to them, encourage, don't discourage one another. Always encourage one another, and the people don't discourage people, because you hear enough discouragement or enough negativity about yourself from other people, you're either going to have to work so hard to get past that, or you're going to fall right into it and believe them. And I mean, having been a survivor of all sorts of abuse, the worst being verbal and emotional, it's tough. It's so tough to get past that. I try never to say anything hurtful to anybody. And even when I express myself that I'm upset with something, I'm so careful with how I say things, because took me many, many years to get past the verbal and the emotional abuse a very long time. And it can be a struggle now if someone is saying something that I find abusive to me, or however you look at it, it can be done, but it's work. And that's your point. Don't surround yourself with it. Or try to limit the time, or learn to block it a little bit better.
I think the trauma that we all feel from a bad experience is something. To me, it was in the last few years, like it has become an epiphany with me about being that person who's negative. One of the things I've always tried to work on myself, and I've talked about this with you before,
Right.
is to try to look objectively, which is so hard to look objectively at yourself. But you got to kind of step outside and be critical in a positive way so that you don't repeat the same negative thoughts, or you don't get caught up in those negative thoughts. And here's an example. I was having a conversation via text the other day, and I was working and I had an appointment, and I was announcing via text that I had to go. I had an appointment. And the person responded, "I'm sorry, why didn't you tell me that you were busy?" Like whatever I had to do was more important. Really, all I was doing was announcing the end of the conversation because I had to move on.
Right.
But I had made that person in the past feel less than important. And I thought to myself, you know what? First thing I did was apologize. I said, "You're not bothering me, and I'm sorry if I ever made you feel that way."
Was that me?
No, no, no. I would have just said it was you.
I know.
That was a moment that I thought to myself, wow, you contributed to this person's discomfort on more than one occasion because they're traumatized. Almost. And it wasn't like a big, I don't want to make more out of it than it was. It was just a little thing that made me think at some point I made this person think that they were bothering me when they were just asking me a simple question.
Right.
And even though at this particular moment, I wasn't being negative, I wasn't being critical, but the fact that they would even say that made me think, wow, I've done something to this person to make them feel that way. And I don't ever want to do that to anybody. So when I think about, where am I at in my life's purpose? Well, it's very similar to yours. In my daily life, I want to work hard, be successful. But one of the parts of that success is having a positive impact on people. I think we're going to talk about it another day, and I don't want to go down the rabbit hole like I did a couple of weeks ago. But we had a conversation this week about random acts of kindness. And I call them regular acts of kindness.
Yes, and I'm going to read my post that I wrote on my social media pages because Jonathan and I did talk about that, and I came up very short post which I'll read because in talking to him about this, we decided to take off the rest of this month and make our shows all about kindness and paying it forward. We want to get everybody on board in a month of kindness. We want to keep that month going every day, every month, every year, all the time.
Read it.
Okay. So my post went, I'll be talking about living your life's purpose on my radio show, yet today I want to talk about living your daily purpose. I believe we should all have a daily purpose to spread kindness to one another, share positive vibes with the people around us, and give a smile to everyone we meet. Those simple things can make a difference in the life of another, whether you know them personally or not. We can't always know what somebody else is going through, yet we can choose to spread good vibes to them. Ask yourself these questions. Are you constantly reminding someone of a past that they weren't part of? Are you always criticizing someone for who they are? Are you constantly crossing the boundaries that someone has in place? If you answered yes to those questions, then you need to rethink your daily purpose and think about how you would feel if you were on the end of the receiving end of those things. Now ask yourself these questions. Are you living in the moment and letting go of the past, especially where others are concerned? Are you encouraging those around you rather than discouraging them? And are you respectful of the boundaries of other people? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you're on the right path of making a positive difference in the life of another and in the world. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Very good. Very insightful. And I use that word insightful on purpose because a post like that is inspirational.
Thank you.
And you know, we have a kind of a responsibility with social media because we can easily and quickly touch so many people with the click of a mouse or the swipe of a finger. And
Okay, we'll take it. Sure. Maybe.
sure,
Hello, this is DENNISH with Jonathan.
Hi, it's Brett from Simply Go Pure. How are you?
Hey, Brett.
hey Brett, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Yourself?
I'm wonderful. You guys are just the best. You're
Thank
so
you.
inspirational and motivational and just contagious energy all the way around.
Thank you. Thank you. See, that's what taking a week off will do. I came in here. Can you feel my energy? I'm like so excited
Yes.
to get back on air. So, Brett,
Yeah.
why don't you tell
Yeah.
us, unless I'll let Jonathan do this. You want to do it?
Well, two things, Brett, is I'm kind of hooked on this pure stuff. And I can't remember what pure stands for. It's people.
People united, reaching everyone.
There you go.
And
Thank
isn't that
you.
what we all should do? Try to reach everyone in life positively.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's
Right.
one of the things I'm big on, whether it's, with books or social media posts. I love this forum. I love Hamilton Radio, Doc, for giving us this opportunity to do it because I love people such as yourself that are like-minded because my standard line is it's time to make a difference and we can make that difference together. So I thank you for calling in and for such a nice review of us.
Yeah, what else?
Yeah, what else you got?
Yeah.
It's true, right? I really do think that we need to help inspire and motivate people to believe in themselves and their dreams and help people to introduce themselves to their real selves, right? Be like the catalyst that inspires them and motivates them to be and do better, right?
Well, and it also makes the other people not feel alone. Some people are afraid to do certain things. Fear holds them back. So when you're out there on social media pages, on radio, on talk shows, wherever you're on, someone's going to listen to that, read that, hear that, and think like, wow, well, they've got a point there. I think that's the whole purpose in this world now, not to let people feel alone and left out of things. And I think the more we put ourselves out there, the more people we can reach to wanting to live the best life they can and taking care of themselves and doing all positive things that they can do.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
so
I
Brett,
think
go ahead.
yeah.
I've known you for a long time. I know you as a mother. I know your children. I've watched them grow up. Where are you at in this part of your life now? Your one daughter's going to college, right?
Isn't it crazy?
I know.
Yes. Yes, she is. I am. I am a mother. I'm a wife of fabulous girls, 17 and 12. And yes, Brenna is off to college, St. Joe's University in the fall.
Wow.
So you
And,
also have a life purpose of being a wife and mother. How did you come across this life purpose?
So that's funny. Actually, I wasn't even looking for it, or at least I didn't think that I was looking for it. At the time, just before I was introduced to my business, I just in life was feeling the daily grind. I was busy. We are owners of 2 other businesses, and I was just not feeling completely fulfilled in life. And there was this tug at my heart, and a feeling in my gut that I was supposed to do more and at the same time make my life easier.
I call that restless
And
soul syndrome, when you get restless and you got to figure out what it is you're missing.
yes, and right. And that's exactly what it was. I was like, I tell my husband, I'm like, there's something more. I just feel like I need to do more and be more. And I had always had a dream of owning an online business in the health and wellness industry. I have always been just, fascinated by health and wellness and how our bodies work and function. And I wanted a business that incorporated my dream of helping people become better through living a healthy lifestyle, and something that was easily maintained through an online format. So, like I said, I really wanted to be an inspiration to people. And at that time, I thought, well, I'm busy, busy, busy. Where in the world is this all going to fit into my life? But I think that you have to allow yourself to be guided in the direction of where you're supposed to go, in the direction where your heart and your gut is pulling you, even though at times it doesn't make sense, does it?
No, that's
No.
like I always say, you got to trust the universe. You never know where it's going to take you, but if you're open that there might be something the universe is trying to show you, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself that it's going to all work out, and you're on a path, and you don't want to miss out what you're supposed to be doing or what life has to offer you at the time.
You're right. Yeah, and that was just it. So I just trusted in the process, and it didn't make sense to me. But I followed my heart, and I had faith. And I do believe that faith means finding answers in your heart, right? And that's what I was doing. I was finding answers in my heart, and I was trusting in the process, and I allowed myself to be guided. And it brought me to Pure. I was introduced to the business by a friend. At the time in my life, my father and aunt were both diagnosed with cancer, and even though I was doing the best I could do as far as my family's health, I just felt like we needed more. I was scared. And I was looking for better nutrition at the time, and I really simply, just was the products is what brought me there.
Okay.
And I quickly learned that it could be everything I wanted. And I found my online business in the health and wellness industry, helping and inspiring and motivating people to become and do better and live a healthy lifestyle. And it was everything that I wanted. And who knew that that's where it was going to take me? But it did. So,
Good
here
for
I
you.
am.
I
Loving
think-
life, feeling fulfilled.
There you go. Well, I think it all ties in. There's the physical aspect, there's the emotional, there's the mind, body, heart, and soul. It all connects itself together. And when one is out of balance, the other one's going to suffer a little. I think it's great what you're doing. I love that story.
So you simply went pure.
I did, and that's where I got the name. I simply got Pure.
So if people want to find out more about it, they can go to your website, simplygopure.com. Is that correct?
Right. That is right. Simplygopure.com.
And you're also on
It's
Facebook and Instagram.
www.livepure.com/simplygopure.
Okay.
They can find me on Facebook at Simply Go Pure Today and Instagram at Simply Go Pure.
Okay.
Very good. What? So how long have you been doing this?
Just a little over one amazing year.
Outstanding.
That's
Outstanding.
great.
You said something about faith before. By definition, faith is something that you believe in without knowing why you
Right.
believe it exactly, and you're not sure of the outcome. But faith is a positive feeling. It's not a negative feeling. When you have faith in something, you know, or your gut is telling you, and your heart is telling you that you're going in a positive direction, not only for you, but for the people whose lives that you touch in a positive way. And that really, in and of itself, especially with your family, is when it starts with the core value of the family, and once you've established that, your life automatically becomes more fulfilling because you have purpose. People without purpose are not fulfilled.
No, well, like I said, everyone has a purpose. I think they just have to have the right mindset to understand that they do. And in talking about faith, I'll say, it's faith or fear. It's one or the other. You either live your life in fear or you live your life with faith. Faith in whatever your belief system is, faith in yourself, faith in the people around you. Because I'll tell you, I don't know about you, Brett, but I learned that. I remember when I had my first child, I was like afraid for him to get sick, afraid for this, afraid for him to fall. And I thought, you can't live your life in fear. I got to have faith that I'm doing the best I can, that he's being watched over, and that everything's going to be fine. And I think that's really where I learned faith was with my first child, because that's a scary time for a mom when you got a little one, and suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, and then you don't want anything to happen to him. And throughout my life, I've realized with faith, there's nothing. Without
Right.
faith, there's nothing. With fear, there's nothing. You need to, for your own sanity, have that faith and really have that belief in what you're doing and in yourself.
Yes, you are absolutely right. I really believe that there is no failure. It's just repeated opportunities to become and do better every day. And when we resist that and we resist the direction that life's taking us, we eventually end up there anyway.
True.
It just takes a lot longer when we resist it.
I wrote a quote a while ago that I said, success is living your life's purpose. Failure is not believing in yourself enough to go and do it. And I think that's part of what we do on a weekly basis. We're trying to help people believe in themselves and love themselves and be good to themselves.
You can't. I don't even like to use the word can't. You shouldn't. You shouldn't resist, like you said, Brett. You really shouldn't resist the direction that life is taking you, because the force of life is much greater than any one individual. There's an ebb and a flow to life, and if you're constantly bucking the ebb and the flow, you're walking George Jetson's dog. You ever see George Jetson walk his dog? He's not getting anywhere.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Astro's having a great old time, but he's not getting anywhere.
I know.
Neither is George. But that's what happens when you try to resist life. You're not going to get anywhere. And like you said before, Brett, you're going to end up in the same spot anyway. And we know that life is precious. We want to be grateful for whatever time we have and make the most out of it. And that means finding fulfillment, finding purpose, enjoying yourself, enjoying your friends, and enjoying it. Look, there's always going to be some controversy, and there's always going to be, maybe a day where you're not feeling your best. We talked about feeling your best. So Ann wasn't feeling her best. So I told her, I said, you may have felt better yesterday and you may feel better tomorrow, but today you're feeling your best.
True.
Because this is as good as it's going to get
true
today.
Statement. Yes. Some days are like that. It's just, you got to find something positive in some of this, in the negative stuff. That's what we're talking about today. And,
it's just a better way to look at it, I think, rather than...
Nothing good comes out of the negative. It just, show me something good that comes out of the negative stuff like that. And, I don't think there really is anybody that can.
Negativity...
Breeds
I
negativity,
think
too.
Breeds negativity. And I think at least those of us here, and Brett would agree, that the negativity affects your health, your physical health.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Brett, you would know
Absolutely.
that with the business you have. You would definitely know that.
Yeah. And you attract it as well, right? You think it, you believe it, and you will attract it. So it's like you're saying, it's bad for your health and overall just well-being in general, just to be negative.
Yep, and it's a waste of precious time
Energy.
and energy. Good.
Absolutely. She does
Yeah.
think a lot like me.
I do. I'm telling you, I love everything that you're about, Ann.
Thank
Just
you.
wonderful.
Thank you so much. I feel the same way about you, Brett. I think it's great what you're doing. And when we're not on air one day, we'll have to chat a little bit more about Simply Go
Absolutely.
Pure.
I love that.
It's a lot of fun over at the Lamone sometimes.
It is, isn't it?
It
We always
is.
have a good time.
Yep.
We are not negative. We are positive, aren't we?
That we are positive.
That's the best way. But that's the best way to be.
Yes, one day, not today, Brett, but one day when you talk to Ann, you can tell her how I blew up your house.
Oh, boy.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I might
Well,
tell
that's
her that
for
later.
a story for another day, isn't it?
It is. It
Oh,
is.
God. Another day, another show.
I don't want that to be a show.
Once he tells it, it might be another radio station once we get kicked off.
No, well, we have some video.
Oh, Lord.
There might be video.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, Brett, we appreciate you participating.
Yeah, thanks so much for
Well,
calling
thank you
in.
for having me on.
No, thanks for calling in and sharing your insight, which is so similar to ours.
And we'll.
Thank you so much.
I just so you know that for some reason every night at 9:00 I seem to be listening to the same Rachel Garcia every night.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, I'll have to tell you about it another day. I don't want to get sidetracked today, but she's got a really good message, and even though it's almost the same message every night, I think I've listened to it 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah. She's wonderful.
Yeah, she seems like it. She seems like a genuine person who's got a family and a husband and kids, and she's an aunt. She has nieces and nephews. I think she has a nephew with special needs that she's been helping.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person inside and out, and just a wonderful inspiration.
Yeah, she is. She is. You should. I don't know if I got that because you shared it with me, but I hope you share it with more people, and I hope to see you doing the same thing.
You will one day, John. Absolutely will.
Great.
Well, thanks again, Brett,
Right,
for
well,
calling in,
thanks,
and
Jen.
you and I will talk more when I'm off air and I get home today.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Ann.
Have a great
Bye, Ann.
day.
Bye, John. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I love meeting like-minded people.
She's very
That's great, though.
well educated, very well spoken, has a really good value system.
But you know what's great about that too is she's talking about the laws of attraction, which I know very well. You attract. I love when your personality attracts the like-minded people. I mean, everything you, Doc, and I were talking about before we went on air, I love. It's like-minded people. We don't have to explain anything because we already get what we're saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of head nodding that goes on around here,
Yeah, that's how we communicate before the show.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and every day. I guess we're not hearing from Jamie today, huh?
Nothing, huh? Jamie PK, where are you? She might have had trouble calling in today. It's
What?
just you and I.
What? I know we've talked about it amongst ourselves, but maybe you want to share how your trip changed your life's purpose a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, as you know, I was in California from a Monday to a Friday. It was my whirlwind tour, as I call it.
Birthday week.
Birthday week, yes. Mm-hmm.
You're older than me.
Yes, I am. Thank you for the reminder.
You're welcome.
And, enjoy your week off next week on the radio show.
I will. Thank you.
So what happened is I had gone to Jamie's wedding, which was a David Tutera lifetime wedding. Very cool experience to see that. We can't say much more about it, but it really was a beautiful day. And I spent some time with my older son and his girlfriend, my nephew, his fiance, and their 2-year-old. And I got to tell you, there's just something about California and I'm just walking around feeling the energy, and on my birthday, which was the day I was flying home, I thought, that's it. It's time to get more focused, more serious, choose my priorities when I'm home a little bit more carefully. And the priority right now has to be on all of you who I speak to and myself, all of the people I want to spread love and light to and show how I got through difficult times, all the people that I want to be there for through all my difficult experiences, and including breast cancer. So I think that changed my life purpose in a sense. I came home on fire. I realized I was eating vegan for 2 days out there. My diet has to change. My focus has to change. I need to get a little bit more rest and stop running myself ragged. I have to spend more time on writing, on radio, on all of those things. And I came home with it. You know, I figure it's still my life purpose, what I want to do, but I think I was even more driven to do it when I got home. So I would say life purpose, the same, but kicked into high gear now, into a lot more high gear.
So in the past week, I know we didn't do the show last week because you had some other things that you had to take care of.
Right.
And I'm curious, and I maybe I'm not so curious because I actually know the answer to this from conversation. But when we talk about being positive and not getting distracted from your life's purpose, how do you get back on track after a week like you had, which kind of derails you a little bit?
White Zinfandel wine.
Oh, I got it. Note to self. How to stay on track.
It's hard to get back on track because, I don't live alone. I have people in the house. Mm-hmm. And, you get caught up in cleaning up this, cooking that, run to the food store. It's hard. And I have had, California was a quick trip. I came home with a terrible sinus infection. That kind of wiped me out. And then someone very close to me passed away a few days after that. Sure. Hang on a sec. We got a caller.
Here you go. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey, Ann. It's Leslie from Florida.
Hey, Les. How are you?
I am good. I was listening to your show.
And let me just tell everybody, Leslie and I have been friends for how many years now?
Ooh, I don't even know. Feels like a lifetime.
We met through our spiritual circle, a mutual friend. Leslie is also an empath, psychic intuitive, great card reader. Leslie, meet Jonathan.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Jonathan.
It's nice to meet you.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
Oh, no problem at all. I actually was listening to your conversations and thought I could add a little bit.
I was going to ask you to.
Please do.
It was interesting when you're speaking about life purposes, and I kind of feel like your life purpose is laid out for you already.
Okay.
And that we take different paths to get there. Like, I know you had mentioned and going out to California, and that your life purpose had changed a little bit. But I think that's already been preset for you. Like, our path is already there, laid out.
True. No, it's kind of
how we get there.
Okay, I believe that.
You know what? I don't disagree with it. I think that it's almost like a fate reference.
It's a theory. Your life is written when you're born, which I do believe in. Your life is written when you're born. You just don't know everything in the book yet.
And if you're thick, like thick-headed, it's a secret.
Well, see, Leslie and I do not know any thick-headed people, do we, Les?
Not at all.
Said no one ever.
Well, because we don't want to listen to the lessons that we need to learn. So we keep making the same choices to keep learning the same things over and over again.
God, that's
true.
So true.
To get, in line with what our life purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how many times, Leslie, that if you get caught in this trap where you even have close people who are close to you that are going to point out to you, that you may want to make a little bit of an adjustment or not go down that path. And they do it with your best interests. And you can't argue with them because you know they're right. But you seem to make that same mistake again.
Yep, you still have to do it, like the hand in the cookie jar.
It's, oh my God, that's so funny. I literally got caught when I was a kid so many times with literally my hand in the cookie jar that my father would do elaborate things because I would get up 4 o'clock in the morning, everybody's sleeping, and I'd be climbing on top of the counter to get to the cookie jar. And literally, one time I remember my father put a bunch of bananas on top of the cookie jar. And I was 5 or 6. Well, sure enough, so he put the cookie jar way up on top of the refrigerator. And I worked really hard to sneak those cookies out of that cookie jar. But I forgot to put the bananas back on top of the cookie jar. So when my father came downstairs to get ready for work, it was like, Jonathan, what? Were you in the cookie jar? Absolutely not. I would never go in the cookie jar. And sure enough, he goes, do you remember these bananas being up here? He goes, because I sure do.
Oh, boy.
Yep. And that was just the beginning of a long meandering river of life that I've floated down.
And see, Leslie and I, we have been on this journey for so many years together. And, she'll kick me into gear sometimes, and I'll turn around and kick her into gear, and we'll say, what is wrong with me? Why am I doing this again? Leslie will say, because you didn't learn the lesson the last time. She'll call me, I don't know why this is still happening. I'm like, because you didn't learn the lesson. This is the life of being the people we are.
Exactly.
Leslie, do you think...
And it'll keep coming back to you until you learn what it is that you need to learn from that experience. And it all has to do with life purpose and what are we here to do, and putting, you spoke a little bit about energy, and what are you putting out there is what you receive, and like-minded people. Like, I feel like when you're vibrating on a higher level, you attract like-minded people.
Exactly.
Because that's what you're drawing in energetically.
Okay. Why don't you talk a little bit about your life's purpose down in Florida?
What was that, Leslie?
Did you say my perfect life in Florida?
I said your life purpose in sunny Florida. Yeah, but I haven't been down to visit her yet, but she puts these most beautiful pictures up. I mean, it's a crushing life where she watches the manatees in the water in the morning, and the dolphins and the sunsets.
Where are you on the West? Are you on the West Coast, Leslie?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I am, but let's be real here, Ann. I created my perfect life based on the conditions that I've been placed under. I have a lot of health conditions, and living in New Jersey was not conducive to that. So I picked up my daughter and myself and moved 1,200 miles away from everything to Florida for a better life.
And you never looked back.
And I did not look back, because I knew in my heart of hearts that this is where I needed to be, and that this is where I was going to heal, and this is where I was going to flourish, and that this is where my purpose is. My purpose is here and helping other people with their healing here as well.
And that's a great purpose to have. I know for those of you listening, and for Jonathan and Doc, Leslie has a great community of people. Like, she really found her niche down there of really good people, spiritual, great energy people down in where she is. So that's part of your life purpose too. You wound up right where you needed to be.
I did. But I think we all do. Like, when we start out, our destiny is already there, and we're going to end up there one way or another. Just ironically, I ended up, injured, and, things transitioned into a way where I wound up in the same place that I was 25 years prior.
Right.
It was almost like a loop. I started here. I lived down here when I was 22 years old. I wasn't ready for it yet. I hadn't learned my lessons. I went back to New Jersey, and 25 years later, here I am again.
How long?
Meeting the right people and following a different path and doing everything probably just a little bit later than was set up for.
How long have you been down there this time?
Right. You know, like I had my chance, 20 some odd years ago. I wasn't ready then. I wasn't ready to embrace it.
I don't think she heard you.
I had more lessons to learn. I had things to do. And, now I'm at this point where, here I am and I'm showing up now. I'm showing up for myself. I'm showing up for the people that need me and living, the best life possible.
So you've been down there, what is it, 3 or 4 years now?
4 years.
Yeah.
That's an abbreviation of a much longer story, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back on the show, especially for the month we have planned, that I have planned, you have planned,
I may show up next
Yeah,
week
but-
or not. I'm not sure.
if you're allowed.
Yeah.
If you're allowed to
But
show up.
I did, take the situation that I'm in, and turned it into a positive. I have mobility issues. I moved to a place where I didn't have to leave my house to see dolphins and manatees every day.
Right. That's beautiful.
I live in a place where I can hear live music at night on the weekend. That's all a blessing. I'm very blessed for everything that I have, and it's those simple things that keep us going.
It is, and most people don't realize that. They think it's like the big thing. They got to have the big picture and all these things set in place, and they don't realize there's gratitude in the smallest of things, and just like you were saying, listening to live music. Some people might be, well, right, yeah, at the concert, and what's the big deal? That brings you joy. That is a big deal. And some people reach too far out to find happiness and joy, and it's right there.
When you
And
go,
it's so simple. I find joy in when a dolphin swims by and it lifts out of the water and breathes air. I think that's the most magical sound in the world.
It is.
That's life itself. I mean, it's the small things, and I think that people forget it, and it becomes about, things and items and stuff and all this junk. And it's like living your purpose. Like, what are you here to do? Being the best version of yourself.
And, I like that theory, too, because that's why I say people that think they don't have a purpose. What you just said, to be joyful and happy, you spread that. Every day you can smile at somebody or, do something for somebody to be your best self is a blessing to anybody who's around you.
You're raising the vibration of everything around you.
Exactly.
when you
So
go
it's
to,
the law of attraction. You're bringing back to the basics of the laws of attraction. You're smiling at somebody. They smile at somebody else. It's empowering. What one small action can spread out and do.
It really can. It's just like, did you ever see that video? It was circling on social media where the man got on a train and started laughing, and everybody at first on the train is looking at him like, what a weird guy. He's just laughing, looking at his tablet. And before you know it, everybody on the train is laughing. And it's what you're talking about. It's contagious. Like, if, this man brought a whole train car full of people that were cracking up with him, and they didn't know why he was laughing. But I think all that good stuff can be spread out there. It is contagious.
when you go to an event, a musical event, you're going, and I'm thinking about one in particular, or one particular act that goes on the road every year. It starts in Florida and travels all around throughout the country. Attracts huge crowds. 75,000 people is not unusual. And there's more than one act like this. But when you get 65,000 like-minded people in one spot that are all happy, it's almost impossible for it not to infect you in a good way. Because it's a joy to be surrounded by people that you're attracted to, even though you're attracted just by the joy that they feel. And it's healing.
The vibration.
It's healing. It's people don't appreciate the power of live music or that kind of entertainment where everybody's interacting with one another, then they're missing out. And part of it's funny, something Ann just said, being joyful is a purpose in itself.
Yes, it is.
Definitely.
There was a lull there for a moment. I agree with all of that. I think,
No, there definitely is. And I've been blessed by meeting a group of people down here where we get together and they have drum circles on the beach or in somebody's backyard and do, host a dinner together. And it's basically a group of people getting together just to laugh, have fun, and spread joy.
And
and it's a blessing to be a part of that and be in a community that supports that.
it's true.
It's a safe haven also.
Yes.
There's, Ann said before you called something about fear or faith.
Haha.
when you're surrounded by people of a like-minded faith, and we're not talking, a particular religious belief, just a general common
No,
belief,
faith is faith.
a common spiritual belief. All of a sudden, your fear melts away. Your faith takes over, and you almost feel protected. You do feel protected, not almost. You feel protected.
You do.
Yeah.
I think that's that. I don't want to say propagating. What's another word for propagating? Continuing that and building on that is also can be a purpose, a meaningful purpose. We talk about tribes all the time here. So you're surrounded by a tribe down there that protects you, that you enjoy being with. Their company is fulfilling to you. You're not struggling, or if there's a conversation, it should be, or or what I hear from you, the conversation is mutually upbuilding instead of a world that we live in. And what I think we're fighting here
True.
is a world that wants to fight and argue and be divided. And I don't know where it comes from, but I remember, we talk about that we only have 3 minutes left. So we
Sliding the note
Yeah.
over.
I get great notes. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it. I think I'm gonna end it right there and let
Annie Banani here.
Annie Banani. You should have never told me
No,
that.
I just think that in every action that we choose, that we just kind of have to check ourselves to make sure that we aren't acting out of fear and that we are acting out of faith, because it is about that vibration that we're putting forward.
Absolutely.
Leslie, it was great. It was great hearing from you. We're just about to wrap up.
Thank you for calling in.
right.
I'll call you later.
Bye, guys.
All right. Love
Bye,
you.
thank you.
Bye. Thanks. Well, that was a good phone call. Doc, we got Under the Tree queued up over there, right? All right. Well, I'm going to let Jonathan say goodbye, and then I'm going to wrap up our Life Purpose show today.
It was nice seeing you. I know we talk all the time, but I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
Too. Yes. It's good to see you as well.
I think we had a wonderful conversation today, and we'll see you all next week if I'm allowed back.
Yeah, well, we'll see how the week goes. Join us next week. We are kicking up the Kindness Month for the month of April. We're going to be talking next week about random acts of kindness and paying it forward. So I want to thank you all for listening to Living Your Best Life. I'm wishing you lots of love and light. And I'm just little old Ann Dennish trying to change another life in the world, one radio show at a time. And on that note, I'm playing a song today that I wrote. Doc's going to turn it on, called Under the Tree. It's in memory of Sandy Contreras, who was very close to me, that we just lost recently. So, San, this is for you.
There's a quiet spot right under the tree where the messages of loved ones come to me. They're the voices I remember of those who have passed. Their love and their light, the sound of their laugh. I don't grieve their passing, I don't cry bitter tears. Smile with joy at the voices that I hear. Friends and family, babies lost to touch. My heart's very full, having loved them so much. Sit in wonder under the tree, just be. Breathe and dream, you will know everything under the tree, under the tree. The love never dies, only the shell of their soul. Their spirit lives inside me, it's my heart that they hold. I know I can't pull them near, no hug and no kiss. Yet a thought brings them back with only their body to miss. For each single memory, every sweet thought reminds me of their life and the happiness it brought. All I need to remember, all I need to see, can be found in the silence of sitting under the tree. Sit and wonder under the tree, just be. Breathe and dream, you will know everything under the tree, 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 under the tree.